The easy route never pays well. The only route in life that pays well is the hard route, the struggle, the pain, the frustration, and the overcoming of those things. And not only do they pay, they fulfill you as well. Reality is what matters. Not what might be, not what could be, not what should be, what is. Okay? And we have to make decisions based upon what is, not what we wish it was. When I was in school, I struggled with school. I was not a great student. I wasn't someone who got A's and B's. I got C's and D's. That's reality. When I went to my guidance counselor when I was 16, 17 years old, we were getting ready to take the standardized test, which at that time was SAT and ACT. I was asked what I wanted to do with my life. And like most 16 and 17 year olds, I didn't really know, but I knew I wanted to do something. I knew I wanted to be something. I knew I wanted to become successful. I knew I wanted to win. Living like everybody else was not appealing to me, which coincidentally is why I struggled in school. The reason I struggled in school was because I couldn't see the point in a lot of the stuff that they were teaching. They would teach these, trigonometry and all this that I couldn't see the practical purpose in. And because I couldn't see the practical purpose in it, I did poorly. I wasn't interested. I didn't execute the way that I could have or should have or whatever. But at the bottom line, I did bad in school. And so when I went in to talk to my guidance counselor, about what it was that I wanted to do, he wasn't very receptive. And he asked me, he said, Andy, what do you see yourself doing? Where do you want to go? And at that time I wanted to play football. I wanted to become, successful. And I told him, I said, well, I want to go to Notre Dame. I want to go to, a school like Duke or Texas and, play football. And his response to me was laughter. He laughed and he said, oh, Andy, those places, and it's getting me pissed off even thinking about it. Those places are for cream of the crop. Those places are for the top of the top of the top, and you just ain't it. And he used the term cream of the crop. And I remember thinking like, well, I'm cream of the crop, even though, maybe I wasn't because of what they could see, but I knew I had something. They just didn't know I had something. And, now that same school, I'm proud to say I've gone out and done some things, and I've contributed financially to that school, build them nice facilities, one of the nicest schools in America. And I tell you that story because I think this is an important lesson for what's going on in the world right now. When I look around at what's going on in the world right now, I see things that really piss me the fuck off. And one of the things that pisses me off the most is that when I was growing up, we were taught, you could be anything you want. You want to be an astronaut? You could do it. You want to be a chef? You could do that. You want to be a firefighter? You could do that. And as I got older and as I grew up and learned a little bit more, I learned that the real world, when you get to a certain age, doesn't reward those kind of statements. When you get to be 13, 14, 15, you're not dealing with your parents anymore. You're dealing with the real world. And the real world will quickly remind you that you ain't. And they will give you every reason as to why you can't be what it is you want to be. And that's when I was growing up. Now, the teachers are telling the kids, especially the minority kids, that they cannot do anything in this country. You cannot achieve anything. You're not going to be successful. Doesn't matter how hard you try. It doesn't matter what you do. You're going to fail. And dude, I think that's the biggest travesty and the biggest crock of that's going on in our world right now, because we as adults should be encouraging these kids. We should be teaching these kids what is truly possible instead of squashing their dreams and squashing their mentality and squashing what they believe they're capable of before they even go out and try. Okay? Because I'm a stubborn motherfucker. Like, you could tell me I'm not going to be able to do it, and I will spite you by doing it. That's just me. I have the ability to take the negative and turn it into productive action. I understand what it's like to get told you're a loser or you're crazy or when are you going to get serious about your life? You know, I worked 10 years, guys. My first 10 years of business, I made $58,000 cumulative. Okay? For 10 years, I heard every person I know making fun of me. I heard every person I know telling me that I was wasting my time. I've had every motherfucker I know when I tell them what we're gonna do, and by the way, we've done it by now, laugh in my face. And I'm sure you guys can relate to that, especially you younger guys, younger girls too, okay? You understand what it's like to have people tell you that you can't do it. And I'm gonna tell you something, and this is the truth, this is the reality, and if you don't like it, I don't give a. The truth is this: if you're willing to pay the price, and you're willing to do the work, and you're willing to take the time, and you're willing to consistently get up when you are knocked down over and over and over again, which is going to happen to you if you're pursuing anything outside of the norm, you can make it here. If you choose, you can also find every excuse as to why you won't make it. You could find every reason, if you look for it, as to why you won't make it. But at the end of the day, there's going to be two groups of people, and one group is going to be a lot bigger than the other group. Okay, and here's the groups. The one group is going to get told that they can't do it. And instead of fighting, and instead of working, and instead of, saying, well, Dad, I'm not willing to accept that, those people are going to just take it. And that's what society's counting on. Society is counting on you giving up. Because if you give up, then you can become dependent on the government system to provide for your whole life, okay? And you could, quote unquote, go be a little poor me over there in the corner and talk about why you could never make it here. That's going to be the bigger group. Then there's going to be a smaller group. And the smaller group is going to be the group that says, hey, you know what? I hear what you're saying, but I'm not willing to accept that. I'm not willing to just roll over and take what I'm given. I'm not willing to stop trying because you say that I can't do it. That's what you say. That doesn't mean it's the truth. And for all of you young people out there, I hope that you will take what I'm saying seriously. I don't care where you come from. I don't care where you were raised. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care about any of that. If you do the work consistently, if you invest in yourself consistently, and when I say invest in yourself, I don't mean dollars. I mean by reading, surrounding yourself with positive inputs, okay? And then executing positive outputs. And when I say positive outputs, I don't mean happy-go-lucky, ring around the rosy bull. I mean work. If you're the kind of person who is willing to take the information that's available, which, by the way, there has never been more information available than there ever has been. It's never been more, okay? When I was coming up in business and what I do, I had to read books, and thankfully that habit stuck. But right now, you can literally go almost anywhere and learn directly from people who have done what it is that you want to do. We've never had opportunity like we've had. And my advice to you would be to stop identifying with the group and start identifying with the work. Because at the end of the day, guys, 1 + 1 is always going to equal 2. 2 + 2 is going to equal 4. And 10 years of work when everybody else is partying, making excuses, doing the cool thing on the weekend is going to pay off. It just is. And you'll never convince me otherwise. Because there's people listening right now who have already bought into this. They've already bought into the fact that no matter what they do, they can't win. And that's just not true. And I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to you guys right now who still have hope, who still have the fire, who still have the want and the will and the desire to be more and become more and contribute more and win more because you know your life will be better and everybody else's life around you will be better. I'm talking to you, motherfucker. You can do this. Look, I don't care who tells you that you can't do it, you're not going to be able to do it, you can't win, the game's rigged against you, you're just a regular human, success is for other people. Dude, we could make a list a mile long of the world is going to tell you. And I'm going to tell you this, not one person that you look up to, not one person that you look at and think, man, I like that kind of life, not one mother that has what it is that you're looking for out of life listens to those people. Not one, not even for a second. So you have a choice to make. You can either listen to what the world is going to tell you over and over and over again. I'm in this game 20 plus years and I still get told all the reasons why we're not going to be able to do what it is we want to do. And people who listen to them are going to lose. People who win figure out reasons why they're going to make it. They understand that that's all noise. They understand that that's all irrelevant. And what is relevant is what you do on a daily basis. And I guarantee you, if you're sitting there and you're wondering why it is that everybody else has this and that and this, and why you don't have, I guarantee you that if you take an inventory of your actions, they equal what you're getting. Period. So we can talk all this about how so-and-so doesn't deserve what they have or whatever, but at the end of the day, people who win do and people who lose talk. And more importantly, they talk because they've accepted the idea that they can't win, so instead they contribute to everybody else trying to become part of this group. And I don't care who you are, I don't care where you come from, I don't care what your story is. At the end of the day, you can win if you choose to learn the things that you need to do and then do them. And I don't care where you come from. That's reality. That's the nobody wants to admit, because admitting so means that you have to take responsibility for where you are currently. And you have to say, well, I am where I am currently because I didn't do X, Y, and Z. And guess what? That hurts a little bit. That bothers us a little bit. It's a hard truth to accept. But once you accept that truth, you are able to then move forward with the actions required to get you to where you want to go. Every single mother has the potential to be great. You might not become the richest person in the world. Maybe that's not even what you want to become. But you have the ability to create a great life, create a great existence, contribute to the people around you, show them what's possible, which, by the way, is your obligation on this earth. You're only here for a short time. If you're not going to show people what's possible, who the else is? Who's going to show your kids? Who's going to show your aunts and uncles? Who's going to show your nieces and nephews? And all the young people that look at you and think you're the, you may not think you're the, but there's people in your life that think that. Are you going to fail those people? Are you going to buy into the narrative that you can't? If there's an obstacle to overcome, we're going to overcome it. If there's a barrier that needs to be broken through, we're going to break through it. This is what winning is about. And at the end of the day, the world needs winners, because winners show the rest of the people what could be. And every single time a single mother wakes up and realizes that they're living less than their potential, that they're achieving less than what they could, that they are less than what they are supposed to be, every single time one of those people wakes up, you did a morally good deed by living your best life. You either are or you aren't. You either will or you won't. You're either going to become or you're not going to become. And it's not because of the outside circumstances, it's because of the inside circumstances. You could tell yourself all the reasons why you're not. None of it's true. And just know that. Why is it so hard for people to understand this really basic concept? If you want to win and you want to guarantee success and you want to guarantee that you are going to get where you want to get. Because that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants the guarantee. That's why they ask so many questions. You know, they say, how long is it going to take? What's the best way to get here? What's this? What's that? And they analyze all these different things. And the problem is for most people is they come to a point where they are overwhelmed by the information. And you got to say, what's the bottom line here? And the bottom line for you, and the bottom line for me, and the bottom line for every other mother on this planet is really simple. If you want to be great, if you want to get the recognition, if you want to get paid, if you want all of the things that you dream about, there is only one way to guarantee that you will have those things. Only one. And that is becoming so good at what you do, no matter what it is you do, that it is undeniable that other people recognize how great you are. And the great thing about this concept, it is not limited to having to do something that everybody thinks is worthy, okay? If you're cooking French fries right now and you're like, well, you know, all I do is cook French fries, blah, blah, blah. You don't get it, because becoming undeniable is not something that sticks with you in a certain role. It's a character trait that you develop. That means any place that you are put, you will put in the work, you will learn the skills, you will improve your arsenal to become the undeniable best in that role. And if you have that attitude to where it doesn't matter if you're cooking French fries or you're making $10 billion business deals, you are going to be the absolute best that you can be. And there's nothing that can stop you, okay? It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what race you are, what gender you are. It doesn't matter who your parents are, okay? Dude, we can make every excuse in the book, but I promise you, for every excuse you can make, there are literally thousands of people who had it harder than you that have done what you want to do. There is nothing that can stop you when you become so skilled that every single person around you sees that and it recognizes that. And that is a habit. That is not a gift. That is something that you can create. It's a skill you can learn. So develop the skill of becoming undeniable if you really want to guarantee your success. Stop thinking about this formula or that formula or this formula over here or what this guy says or what that guy says, because the truth is what they're really saying is some sort of complicated version of what the I'm telling you here. Okay? Be great. Put the time in to learn the skills. Put the skills into practice and make a commitment to becoming so good that all your peers say, that's the best. And if you can do that, no matter where you are, no matter if you're cooking French fries, no matter if you're managing the restaurant, no matter if you own 1,000 restaurants, no matter if you created the brand, you cannot be stopped. Becoming undeniable is the only skill you need to remember. Okay, you're confusing your brain. You're creating something that's called paralysis by analysis. All right, you're consuming. All of it is going to come back to this bottom line. You got to be great. You got to have skills, and you got to put those skills into place. And if you do that, and you commit to that, all the other motherfuckers that you compete with, and they'll be trying to figure out the hack, while you'll be doing the actual hack, which is becoming great, because that is the motherfucking hack. So if you never listen to another podcast, if you never listen to another guru person, if you never read another book, if you remember this concept and put it in play, you cannot ever lose. The real problem, which, by the way, no one ever talks about, is that everywhere we look at society, we celebrate victimhood. We are no longer celebrating people who put in the work. We are no longer celebrating people who overcome. Instead, we are celebrating people who have the saddest story. Instead, we are talking about and competing for the attention about who suffered the most. Well, let me tell you something, guys. You can compete for that your entire life and nobody's gonna bring you a mother thing except a couple likes and a couple bull comments that people don't mean. The real winners are still and always will be the people who aren't immune from obstacles, but instead see obstacles as an opportunity to get better. They see this as the path to winning, and they are right. They will always be right. And no matter how much we try to soften the world down for everybody to feel like a winner, not everybody will be. The only people that are going to win are going to be the people who recognize the opportunity to improve when they get punched in the face, which happens to all of us. So if that's you, if you're sitting there at home and you're posting sad story after sad story after sad story, realize that that's all you're ever going to have. And I would suggest that instead of seeing life through the perspective of who's going to be the biggest winner of the losers, start being who's going to be the biggest winner. There's nobility in that. There is nobility in overcoming hardship. There is nobility in overcoming obstacles. There's nobility in creating a story that other people are inspired by. There's nobility in dominating. You know why? Because it shows people, the people who are coming after you in this life, what's possible. It shows people who are coming after you in this life what they can achieve. And that isn't something that sounds good. That's our obligation. Our obligation to this planet is to make people behind us better.
What is it with the kids and everybody these days spending so much time trying to convince every single person that they know that they're going to be what it is they say they're going to be? Look, here's the truth. This is the reality, okay? Nobody's going to believe in you until you've already done it. Nobody's going to come and celebrate with you until you've already done it, all right? The work is going to come before the belief, which means you're going to have to work for a long time by yourself with no applause, with no awards, with nobody telling you good job. And then once you start to build something and people start to see the momentum and they start to see the result and you start doing some things, then you're going to get a little belief, all right? And then what's going to happen is you're going to believe. You're going to believe a little bit. And then what's going to happen? You're going to go do a little bit more work and a little bit more work. Results are going to come more. More people are going to believe, all right? Nobody believes in you because you haven't done anything yet. That's the reality, all right? Now, in an idealistic world, the politically correct world, we would love to have everybody believe in us and everybody think we're great and everybody think we're going to make it, but that's not reality. Most motherfuckers have never even seen somebody build something great. They don't know a person who's become successful, not a single one. So what makes you think that you are so great that everybody's going to believe in you from the day one? It's not going to happen. It's an unrealistic thought. And to be quite honest, it's your overinflated, sensitive ego. Okay? No one's going to clap for you in the beginning, nor should they. No one's going to believe in you in the beginning, nor should they. Now, you might have some friends that are going to support you and they're going to say, yeah, Andy, yeah, go do it. But even those people are going to be rare. So be okay with that. Stop trying to convince everybody. You're never going to get them to get it. They're never going to understand why you're doing what you do. They're never going to understand what makes you tick. They're never going to get it, ever. So stop wasting your time and start putting that time into taking productive actions towards where you want to be. Because if you really want to believe in you, go out and build something great. That's what's going to make them believe in you.
Look, I believe that everybody has a gift. Every single human out there listening right now, you have a gift. The thing that you have working against you is you have all these other people now, right? 30 years ago, 20 years ago, we didn't have Instagram. We couldn't watch people and emulate them. We sort of had to learn our own little craft as we went, all right? But now we get to see what everybody's doing. And our tendency as humans is to emulate the style or the personality or the way that someone speaks or the way they do their content and all these different things. But here's the thing that you don't understand is that by doing this, you are actually keeping yourself from becoming great, because the most that you could ever be when you do these things is a watered down, lesser version of what someone else is doing, all right? And how do you know that your own style and your own way of doing things that you would develop little by little by little if you would just take little risks isn't going to be greater than all of those things that you watch, okay? You cannot be great being a lesser version of what already exists. You can only be great when you execute against your own potential and do your own development. And that means getting up there and looking like a clown. And it means taking little bitty steps forward every single opportunity you get. No one comes out and is just great at business or great at athletics or great at science or great at speaking. It doesn't happen, man. The first speech I ever gave, I remember it, dude. There were 6 people there, all right? And I had a piece of paper and I'm reading the notes and I was shaking. I was freaking the out. There's 6 people. 6. That's where I started, man. So like, this isn't a gift. It only seems like a gift because I worked so hard and so long to develop it. And you guys have to do the same thing if you want to be great. If you want to be good and you want to be effective and you want to be, not great, you just want to be good, then yeah, dude, take someone else's style, emulate everything they do. Clearly it might work, but if you want to be great, if you want to be one of the best that's ever lived at what you do, you have to understand that it's about developing our own skills. It's about developing our own style. It's about developing our own swagger. It's about developing our own selves. And we don't do that when we constantly look at other people and admire them or look at them for an example or steal their, like so popular out there these days. So if you want to be great, guys, you have to put in the work. You have to put in the talent. It's not that everybody doesn't have the potential. Everybody has the potential. It's just they're not developing it because there's too much distraction out that we didn't have 20 years ago. So when I'm coming up, dude, I don't have people to look at. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have social media. We didn't have all these things. We had books. And if I wanted to learn how to speak or learn how to do anything, guess what I had to do? I had to go do it and suck in front of everybody. And we've lost that in society now. Everybody wants to be a lesser version of something else. And guys, I'm telling you, you can't win long-term doing that.
Everywhere we look, we have negativity and impending doom being thrust upon us and put into our lives, okay? The news sucks. People suck. Everybody is complaining. Everybody's trying to divide everybody and, argue over this or that or this. You need to remember that what's going on in our world right now is not just difficult for you, it's difficult for everybody. Now, certain people might be doing better right now. They might be making money. Their job might be more secure, or maybe things are going, better for their fitness or whatever. Here's the point. This is stressful and it's wearing us the out mentally. There's a lot of people out there who are struggling in spite of the fact that they're doing everything they know they should do. Look, guys, this pursuing success, becoming someone who is abnormal, becoming someone who sets the standard for others, becoming someone who shows the rest of the world what is possible is a very difficult path. You are going to have people on you. You are going to have unexpected circumstances arise. You are going to have all these things that you never counted on come and smack you in the face over and over and over again. This is just part of being on that path. But here's what I want to point out to you all. Every single one of you who is struggling right now, you need to understand this. What you're going through right now is necessary. What do you mean it's necessary? It's necessary because what's happening right now is you are forging the skills. You are forging the determination. You are forging the grit. You are forging the fortitude. You are forging all the things that nobody else is gaining because they're sitting on their hands and you're willing to push through. This fire you're feeling, this pressure you're feeling, this frustration you're feeling, this is what is going to make you into the weapon that you are going to become that will then build the life that you are out to build. I need you to understand this. I call it the gauntlet, okay? You cannot develop the skills you need to win consistently without going through the mother gauntlet, all right? And a lot of times when we're going through this gauntlet, we self-pity, right? We talk about how unfair it is. We talk about how hard it is. We talk about how nobody gets it. And guess what? All those things are true. It's not fair. Most people don't get it. Most people have no idea how hard it is for you. And guess what? They're never gonna. So why are you screaming about it? Take this opportunity to recognize that the chaos in your life is actually forging you and improving you because you're choosing to press on when everybody else is falling off. This is how you look at hardships. This is how you look at frustration. You look at it as a tool that's teaching you lessons that are going to become valuable to you, maybe tomorrow, but for sure in the near future. And other are not going to have them because they're not willing to push on. Okay, so if you're struggling right now and you're having a hard time and you're pissed off and you're frustrated, know two things. One, you're not alone. Two, this is necessary for you to get where you want to go. And if you quit, if you falter, if you stop, all of the pain will be for nothing. And you need to remember that. This is what champions do. This is what people who win perpetually do. They don't give a what's happening in the world. They don't let the distractions of the day pull them off course. Do those things make it harder for them to do it? Yes. But what does that mean? It means that we focus. It means we get more discipline. It means we prioritize, and it means we keep moving forward. Because when everybody else is falling off, the economy and all these other things, we could put in a million things, while they're all stopping their progress and going into their little turtle shell, you still have your little turtle head sticking out of the shell, doing your little turtle steps. And guess what happens? You end up 10 miles down the road while they end up in the same spot. This is what winners do. What you're going through, yes, I can empathize. I have a very hard time some days. Some days I don't want to do. Some days I don't do. But most of the days I do. So understand what you're going through, the pain you're feeling, it has a return if you're willing to recognize it. It will forge you, it will teach you the skills, and it will equip you for reality when your peers and everybody else will be unprepared. Conditions for what you want to achieve. You want to build a big life, you want to build a big business, you want to become more physically fit, you want to build better relationships. And to be better, you have to first realize something that is paramount to long-term success in life, and it's this. Conditions will never be perfect, ever, okay? And a lot of people, me included for a long time, sat around and waited for the stars to align or the sea to part or for everything to be perfect for me to just go. And if it wasn't perfect, I'd come up with a justification, right? For example, I'm using my fitness as an example for you guys. You know, when I was 350 pounds and completely unhealthy, not training, not doing my workouts, I would, tell myself, I'd look outside and I'd see, that it wasn't, 70 degrees and sunny. And I would come up with this little story about how it's cold and I'll start tomorrow. Or if it was raining, dude, you know what? I'll just do some sit-ups and push-ups, knowing damn well that the sit-ups and push-ups isn't what the I needed to do. I needed to get my fat ass out on the road and move, okay? What I'm talking about here is justifying our lack of action based upon the external circumstances. And this is something that every single one of you listening, if you understand and if you accept and just say, this is the way it is, your life will get exponentially easier for you to win, all right? So you have to understand that when you look outside, or you look at whatever it is with your business, or you look at whatever it is with your relationship, whatever these things are that you're trying to do, there are going to be wave after wave after wave after wave of inconvenience that hits you in the motherfucking face. All right? That doesn't matter. People who win regardless of those waves. It's not that they don't have those waves, it's that they say, hey, I can't control what the is going on. All I control is what I decide in my mind and the actions I take. Some days are going to be harder than others. Some days are going to be a little easier than others. But I can promise you one thing for sure. There will never, ever, ever be a day that goes exactly as you want it to go. It doesn't exist. So with that being said, if you're going to wait around for perfect circumstances, how can you ever accomplish anything? And that's what I want you guys to think about. I want you to think about all the times that you might be justifying or talking yourself out of or coming up with an easier alternative because the conditions aren't what you want them to be. You know, maybe you don't want to do your work today because you had a fight with your significant other. Maybe you don't want to do your workouts because, like I said, the weather sucks, especially here in Missouri, dude. Yesterday it was snowing. The day before that it was 70-something degrees. Okay, you think I wanted to go out in the snow and do that? No, but guess what? I did it because I understand that every time I do something that is inconvenient, every time I do something that is hard, every time I do something that other people wouldn't do, I'm building the strength of my mental discipline to move forward regardless of the external circumstances in our lives. And this is a skill. This is not a gift. It is not something I was born with. It's something that people learn how to do over time. And I can tell you right now, every single motherfucker that you see doing whatever it is that you want to do, whether it be in business, whether it be in sports, whether it be in music, whether it be in fitness, whether it be having a great relationship, these people, all of them, will wake up and do the work regardless of what's going on in their life, period. Okay? So how do we get to this point? How do we get to a point where we will move forward regardless of what's going on in life? Because this is something most people won't do. You know it too. It's not just you, it's most people. So if you can get you to do it, how much of an advantage does that give you over the rest of the people? A huge one. So what I would like you to consider is, how can you improve this part of your life? Well, it's real simple, guys. And I learned this lesson from a guitar teacher I had 10 years ago. All right. And he said to me, he said, hey, Andy, you don't have any patience. And I'm like, well, no, Matthew, I have zero patience. And he's like, you know how you get patience? And I said, how? And he says, by doing things that require patience. And that's what I want you to remember. If you need to understand and you need to develop how to operate regardless of what's going on in external circumstances when things are inconvenient, how do you get better at that? Well, you get better at that by doing things that are inconvenient intentionally. Okay, looking for opportunities to move forward when the circumstances are not ideal. All right, looking for opportunities to make things harder on yourself. Looking for opportunities to develop the mental aspect of discipline and fortitude that are going to move you forward. Guys, this is a major, major, major key to winning long-term in life. All right? I'm not talking about motherfuckers that win once. I'm not talking about, that's not my people. That's not you. Okay? I'm talking about making a life where you are a perpetual winner in any direction you decide to go. All right? And this is a skill you're going to have to develop. So, number one, realize, hey, do you have this or do you not? Take inventory of how many times you're talking yourself out of everything. Take inventory how many times you justify your lack of action based upon what's going on with your mood or your world or your relationship or your job. How many times are you talking yourself out of doing what you know you need to do? My guess is probably a lot more than you should be. All right? So guys, first realize that you have to build this skill. And secondly, start looking to actively build that. Now, a lot of people, all the weak motherfuckers in the world will comment, why would I work to make things harder on myself? This is stupid. Who the is this guy? Well, this is a motherfucker that built a whole lot of shit from nothing, telling you how to win. Okay? That's what it is. And I'm telling you that if you want to develop this superhuman skill of kicking every single time, no matter what is going on in your life, no matter what's going on in your world, no matter what's going on with the weather, no matter what's going on in our crazy society, if you want to learn how to kick, regardless of all those things, you will actively seek out opportunities to strengthen this muscle that is doing when it's not convenient. Okay? That's called discipline. Now, discipline, guys, is the key to everything. This is why I talk about it so much. If you could be in control of your decisions and your actions 100% of the time, what could you not accomplish? And how could you be held back? And how could you not get where you want to go? Because if we're being honest with ourselves, the reason you're not where you want to be can only be one of two things. It could be one, you're working the wrong plan. And in that case, there's lots of people out there, including me, that will help you figure out how to get on the right plan. Secondly, if you are on the right plan, it's that you're not doing it long enough. You haven't been doing it long enough. Okay? And the reason that you probably haven't been doing it long enough is because you talk yourself out of it every time that it ain't convenient. Success and winning is not convenient. Success and winning is not comfortable. Success and winning in life is going to be a daily task for you. Okay? The one thing that can make it exponentially easier is understanding that the waves of inconvenience are going to crash on your face, regardless of who you are, regardless of what race you are, regardless of where you come from, regardless of what country you're from. It's just the nature of being a human in society, any society. It just doesn't go as planned.
Tell me one thing in your life that is great that came as a result of being comfortable. Because everywhere I look and everywhere I see in today's society, everybody's doing everything they can to be more comfortable, right? They're looking for the more convenience. They're looking for the quicker. They're looking for the faster. And see, there's opportunity in that for those of you that want to get better. Because I'm going to tell you right now, all the great things in my life, all the great things in other high achievers' lives, all the reasons that these successful people that you look up to, that you aspire to be like, are the way they are, have all come from a place of being uncomfortable. That's just a fact. Okay, so understand that when you're trying to avoid the pain, when you're trying to avoid the struggle, when you're trying to avoid the hard things in life, you are actively choosing to be average. You are actively choosing to be mediocre. And you are actively choosing to move further away from what you want in life. Because that hardship and that pain and that struggle and that frustration, they give you the skills that will forge you into a mother champion. All right, so remember that when you try to take the easy route. The easy route never pays well. The only route in life that pays well is the hard route, the struggle, the pain, the frustration, and the overcoming of those things. And not only do they pay, they fulfill you as well, because it shows the people around you. It shows your kids, it shows your brothers, your sisters, your friends, your community, what is possible. And there's nobility in that.
From what I've noticed, most people have a hard time committing to that concept of day by day by day because they've never actually done it. It seems impossible. You're like, oh, dude, that's way too simple. That's not really how it's done. You mean you just execute today and then you do it again tomorrow and then the next day? And people think like that sounds overly simple. And it might be, but it's how it works. There's not a magical thing to it. There's no magic to it. The only magic to it is the momentum that you create that helps you push you even faster towards where you're going. And if you guys would just commit, to 75 days of intentional effort every single day to do this, you will change tremendously. If you cannot go through life and you can't handle the regular things that happen to a human being in a regular day of life, okay, meaning when you have a personal problem or you have an issue or you have a situation at home or you have a situation with a friend or your job or a customer or your husband or your wife or whatever it is, if you automatically take those things and dump them on other people, dump them on your friends, dump them on your husband, dump them on your wife, dump them on your coworkers, you have zero chance of winning anything in life ever. You have zero chance of owning your own home that you're proud of. You have zero chance of making an income that you're proud of. You have zero chance of having fulfilling relationships. Nobody wants to be around people like that. Guys, it's the most toxic trait someone could have. Taking their business and dumping it on someone else without any regard for what this person may have going on at any given time. And you would be surprised at the amount of people who have large followings that you guys know that consistently do this to other people all the time, which is why they struggle in their careers. But the first thing that you have to do for you to get on the track that you want to do is to become self-reliant. That means you have to not only understand your own problems, you have to attack your problems and you have to address your problems and solve them mostly on your own. I'm not saying you can't go get help. I'm not saying you can't have people to rely on to help you with things. But what I am saying is that a lot of you mother have become so soft and so addicted to the validation of voicing your problems that you won't even try to attempt to improve where you are in life. Your identity is now attached to this victimhood that you see in yourself, which is a big problem, because if you and your identity is based around your struggle all the time, right? Meaning every story you talk about is your struggle. Every post you talk about is vulnerable and you're trying to get attention and likes and comments, okay? Everything that you identify your personal self with in regards to what you show other people has to do with you having a problem, okay? It's sympathy bull. Let's just call it what it is. You like the attention, so you complain. When you attach yourself to this identity, the identity of a victim, the identity of not being able to overcome, the identity of constantly telling your struggle story, the identity of never overcoming, you have created this scenario where you can literally never overcome the problem that you claim to have because you've built your identity around it. A lot of us have the wrong idea about leadership, honestly, because I think the quote is taken out of context that we've all heard a trillion times about leadership, which is lead by example, lead by example, lead by example. Vince Lombardi said it, leading by example isn't the best way to lead, it's the only way to lead. But people really miss what that actually means, okay? You go out and you try to rally people up and you try to get people to go along with whatever cause you're going towards, and they don't follow, and you're wondering why. Well, the reason why is because you haven't actually become what it is you claim to embody, and the people can see that. They can sense it. They can feel it, okay? People know bull from the real deal. They just inherently do. You do, I do, everybody does. So when somebody rolls up with fake leadership, we all see it. We all feel it, more importantly, okay? So the key here for all of you people out there trying to become leaders is to understand that for you to get people to follow you, you have to become the ideals and the culture and the vision for what you want to achieve, even if it's just in a 1-unit measurement, which is yourself, so that they can follow along to accomplish whatever that goal is. Now, this is the same thing with life. This is the same thing with success, okay? It says in the Bible, you have to be prepared to receive what it is you're asking for before you'll receive it. What does that mean? That means that you have to become the leader before they follow you, okay? You have to become how the billionaire would act before you become a billionaire. And this doesn't mean fake it till you make it. This means learn the skills, learn the habits, learn the way those things are done, and do them. And that's how these things come to fruition in your life. Most of the world has been convinced that, they can kind of sneak their way through the system, and the opportunities that are bestowed upon us are in someone else's control. It's really hard when you're trying to do it the opposite way and you're trying to sneak your way in and then convince and then get the opportunity from someone else when you're not qualified, you don't have the skills, you don't have the commitment to even deserve that opportunity or that new position that you're looking for. So whatever it is you're trying to be, whatever it is you're trying to do, work on becoming the type of person that would actually have that. It's no different in relationships. A lot of you guys are trying to bat out of your league. You're trying to hit these grand slams when you can't hit a ball off a motherfucking tee. Okay? When you want to attract an amazing partner, guess what you got to become? An amazing partner. Okay? This is no different in any area. So whatever you're out there trying to achieve, whatever you're trying to become, stop and ask yourself, what do these people do? What are their habits? What are the skills that they have? What are the routines they follow? And start to become that now. And then the rest of life will start to materialize around you.
We have two voices, the voice, and then we have the boss voice, all right? And those two voices are the voices that basically dictate our actions and our lives up until we start to become aware of the voices, and then we start to actually react in a different way when these voices speak. Your voice would be the voice that talks you out of doing that is going to bring you closer to where you want to be, and your boss voice is the voice that is always telling you what you should do. For a lot of you guys, just being aware of your voice and your boss voice is going to make a huge impact on how you react and how you execute. Because once you realize that you're talking yourself out of the things that are actually going to bring benefit into your life, you can stop that real quick. What does your voice sound like, right? You have plenty of time to get that done. Just wait until later. Or, you don't have enough time, right? It's one of the two things. And it has to do with our scarcity of time. Your voice knows that actions are going to produce results. And it can't really stop you from taking action, but it can talk you into delaying action. And then eventually you run out of time and you're dead and you didn't do anything. All right, this happens to a lot of people. So when you have this voice come up, the key to overcoming this specific excuse is to clearly stop it immediately and to take action on whatever it is that you're trying to do. You actually learn to train yourself to use your voice as the trigger for you to actually get up and move. All right. So when you have the voice that says, oh, you know what? We'll just wait until tomorrow. We got plenty of time. You don't need to work out today. All right. That's what it says. That's when you should get up immediately off the couch and then just go walk for 30 minutes. Or you don't have to go out and conquer the world, guys. We're talking about very slight changes that make a big difference over time. So if you could train your brain to use this as a switch to actually trigger you into action, now you're in a position of power. Now you're in a position of control. And now, even though, you're not conquering the world, right? Maybe you don't have the best workout you ever had. Maybe you just go do something that you wouldn't normally have done. What you normally would have done over the course of time, that adds up to a big thing at the end of the year. The idea that we're not talented enough, right? Like, oh, dude, do you really think you're good enough for that? Like, dude, when I was starting in business, I looked at all these other business guys and I constantly doubted myself. I constantly told myself in my head that I wasn't good enough or that I wasn't equipped enough. And dude, I wasn't equipped, right? I wasn't good enough at the time. That was the truth. I had to get better. But a lot of people tell themselves these things, and it stops them from getting anywhere, okay? Because most successful people that I know, they all understand that this isn't about talent, it's about choices, all right? Your individual small choices over the course of time are what compound into the overall result of success down the road. You know, not everybody finds the drive or the will or the desire to be better at the same point in life, and that's okay. But it's never too late to put good habits into play so that you find yourself in a position where your life is getting better and better and better and better. There's a certain number of qualities or skills that successful people put into practice. And I'm going to tell you right now, the world is going to reward people who overcome the challenges. You might get some claps. You might get some, oh man, you know, that's so hard. You might get some of that, but it's not going to change your life. Okay. It's instant gratification. You are putting out information to then get instant gratification attention, which doesn't really serve you long-term. Understand that doing the opposite of what most people do is what's going to lead to most success in your life in general terms. So when you see everybody else working to make their life easier, more convenient, less frustrating, basically looking to cut all the hard things out of their life, look at the rest of their life. What is it? It's generally a show, okay? So that should be an indication to you that maybe you need to look at life a little bit different. And one of the things that I see people do is they don't understand that you should actually be seeking out the proper obstacles that are going to teach you the lesson and embrace them so that you can be better. Because, dude, we could talk about and whine about and cry about everything in our lives, but there's only one thing that's going to change it, and that's actually taking action towards the place that you want to go. And I don't care who says different. This is a universal truth, and it doesn't matter who's president, doesn't matter who's won the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter. This is always going to be true. What you put in will produce the output. Okay. So when you see a situation that's difficult and you see a situation that, other people don't want to do, you should maybe be the person who steps up to that and says, dude, I'm willing to do that because I learned this. I'm willing to take on that because I'm willing to get this skill. I'm going to endure this adversity because I know it's going to make me stronger. All right. So look at these as an opportunity for you to grow as opposed to something that you should run away from because it's going to be difficult. This is something that champions and successful people who are great at what they do and live great lives that bring other people up do automatically. You guys have to understand that it is okay to believe in yourself. It is okay to say, I'm going to do this. It is okay to celebrate your successes. Winning in life in any area is a great thing. And when people start to see you win and they start trying to pull you back, that's a good indication of people that you should probably work to separate from, because those are the people who are going to draw energy off of you that could otherwise be spent moving you forward. Don't let these people who haven't achieved anything, who have no goals, who are happy floating through life. And by the way, if that's them, that's cool. You don't have to want what they want, and they don't have to want what you want. So do you want to look like cool this week, or do you want to look cool for your whole life? Because that's what we're talking about here. All right. So understand that you don't need permission. You don't need approval. You don't need your aunts and uncles to believe in you. You don't need your parents to believe in you. You don't need your friends to believe in you. All you motherfuckers are going to hit me up and say, oh, nobody believes in me. Well, you know why nobody believes in you? Because you haven't done anything. What have you done to show people that they should even believe in you? Think about that. It's kind of arrogant to think people should believe in you when you haven't done anything. If you can't become aware of your own internal dialogue, and you can't start to have control over your own internal dialogue, and you can't start to tell the voice that you have in your head to sit the down and shut up, you're going to have a very hard time making any year your year. At the end of the day, it's irrelevant, because what's going to be relevant always, no matter what year it is no matter what's going on in the world, no matter what obstacles you might have or excuses you may think you have, no matter what it's always going to come down to is your own actions and your own choices and your own thoughts.